An ordinary Chicago girl who dreams of becoming a playwright took a massive $300,000 loan on a single idea, a plastic jewelry box. At that moment, not a single person could have predicted she'd create an empire spanning hundreds of products and making billions in sales, with 120 patents, over 1,000 products, and a personal fortune worth about $500 million. This is the incredible story of how Lori Greiner became the queen of QVC and changed the face of American retail forever. In 1969, Illinois, Chicago, a girl named Lori Greiner was born on December 9th. Lori was a second daughter, raised in a middle-class Jewish family. Her mother was a psychologist, and her father was a lawyer and real estate developer. However, her childhood was marked by emotional challenges at just 9 years old when her parents divorced. With her world turned upside down, Lori learned early that it wasn't always easy to make ends meet. In the mid-1990s, while studying communications at Loyola University Chicago, she wasn't just hitting the books. She was also hustling, working at the Chicago Tribune, and crafting her full-time career path. At this time, Lori was already showing signs of that entrepreneurial spirit that would later define her life. But while everyone thought she was headed for a career in theater as a playwright, life had different plans in store. The thing about Lori is, she wasn't afraid to try different things. While pursuing her creative dreams, she started selling jewelry on the side to make ends meet. It might have seemed like just a way to make extra cash at the time, but this was actually preparing her for something much bigger. You see, sometimes the best opportunities come from the most unexpected places, and for Lori, that opportunity came in the form of a simple problem that needed solving. Back when Lori was studying at Loyola University, she met a man who would change her life forever. His name is Dan Greiner. They crossed paths at Kincaid Sports Bar in Chicago's Lincoln Park neighborhood. Dan was 9 years older, working as a CPA at Bell & Howell Co., specializing in consulting, audit, and tax. What started as a friendship soon blossomed into something more. He would later become her future husband and business partner. But the really crazy part of their story? It was Dan's cautious nature that first caught Lori's attention. He wasn't the type to push the envelope or take wild risks. Yet when Lori came up with her first invention idea in 1996, he didn't hesitate for a second to support her dream. See, Lori had noticed something. There wasn't any good way for women to store their jewelry at home. She envisioned an acrylic plastic earring organizer where everything would hang cleanly, visible at a quick glance. When she shared this idea with Dan, he didn't just listen. He actually sketched out her first invention as an example. And during this time, he continued to provide for his wife. Now here's where it gets really intense. To support her innovative product further and help make it happen, they decided to take a massive risk together. The couple took out $120,000 against their house just to manufacture this product. Lori spent $10,000 getting a prototype made, going through 8 or 9 revisions until it was perfect. But she wasn't taking any chances with this investment. She hit the streets of Chicago with that final prototype, stopping random women walking by to get their opinions. Remember, this was 1996. No internet surveys or social media feedback. Just pure hustle and determination. Armed with nothing but the yellow pages and a book listing department store buyers, Lori started cold calling people. She basically lived on tenacity and that redial button, until finally, boom, JCPenney's buyer gave her a shot. They said if the product did well in Chicago's stores during the holidays, they'd go national. Only one tiny problem. She didn't actually have a product yet, and it was already August 1996. But that didn't stop her. What happened next is like something out of a movie. Lori rushed through design, packaging, and manufacturing in just 4 months. That holiday season, she and Dan worked like a real-life Bonnie and Clyde. While Lori did product demonstrations at JCPenney, Dan would pretend to be a random shopper. He'd casually walk up when a crowd gathered and say,
"That looks pretty cool. I think I might buy one of those for my wife."
The results? She was selling about 100 organizers every single day. By the next year, that one product had made $1 million in revenue and was in stores across the country. That success allowed her to pay off her now $300,000 loan in just 18 months. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. When Lori went to file her first patent, she had to use $5,000 from their shared savings. Dan came along to the attorney's meeting just to listen, and he sat at the far end of the table. But something frustrating happened. Every time Lori asked a question, the attorney would turn to Dan with the answer, even though she was the inventor. Steam practically coming out of her ears, Lori demanded they bring in a female attorney, someone who would treat her respectfully. That attorney, Natalie Kadevich, has now been with Lori for 28 years and handles all of her patents. But then, things really took off. Lori found her way into the home shopping network on cable TV, and what happened next was absolutely incredible. In her very first appearance, she sold over 2,000 earring organizers in just 2 minutes. 2 minutes! The moment those orders started flooding in, Lori knew she'd found her calling. This wasn't just success, this was destiny knocking on her door. In 1996, the business exploded so quickly that Dan had a big decision to make. He had a stable job as a controller at a manufacturing company, but he took one look at how fast Lori's company was growing and knew what he had to do. He eventually left his position to become the vice president of Lori's business for Your Ease Only. Then in 2000, something huge happened. QVC offered Lori her own TV show, Clever and Unique Creations by Lori Greiner. And let me tell you, this wasn't just any television show. During one demonstration of her jewelry organizers, orders went absolutely crazy. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in just 20 minutes. Now, selling on TV isn't easy. You've got to connect with people through that screen, make them understand why they need your product, and do it all in a way that feels genuine. But this is where Lori's true genius showed up. She had this incredible ability to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of products in just minutes. She put it better herself. I can sell hundreds of thousands of dollars in minutes, not months. Not days, not weeks, minutes. Behind the scenes, Lori and Dan were working like mad to make sure every single order got filled. They were truly in this together. The really mind-blowing part? Within just a few months, Lori had made her first million on the home shopping network at just 27 years old. But she didn't stop there, not even close. This million-dollar idea opened doors into the entire retail sector, and Lori just kept dreaming up new inventions. It was like she couldn't stop. She'd sell out one product and already be working on the next 3. Her products started appearing everywhere, from home shopping network to Bed Bath & Beyond. Her enthusiasm was infectious. Her demonstrations were compelling, and her products just kept solving real problems people had. It's no wonder she earned the nickname Queen of QVC. Every time she appeared on the show, products would fly off the shelves. But what made this success even sweeter was that she and Dan were building this empire together, supporting each other every step of the way. This success wasn't just about the money, though. It proved something crucial. Lori had a special talent for creating products that the masses actually wanted and needed. She could spot a problem and come up with a practical, affordable solution that would make people's lives easier. So how did she do it? Simple, really. She only sold products she truly believed in, and her enthusiasm was absolutely infectious. But what really earned her the title Queen of QVC wasn't just her sales numbers. It was the way she connected with her audience. Lori didn't just sell products, she solved problems. Whether it was a $99 jewelry box or a $299 mirrored cabinet, every single item had a purpose, a reason for existing. And people could feel that authenticity through their TV screens. With QVC under her belt, Lori went all in on her company, for Your Ease Only. And this is where things get really crazy. Remember that one earring organizer she started with? Well, that was just the beginning. Lori started creating product after product, innovation after innovation. We're not talking about just a few items here and there. This woman would go on to create 1,000 different products. Nothing could stop her when she set her mind to something. And the really impressive part was she didn't just create random products hoping some would stick. Every single invention was designed to solve a real problem. From jewelry storage to kitchen gadgets, travel accessories to home organization, if there was a way to make people's lives easier, Lori was on it. And she always kept one crucial thing in mind: keeping prices affordable so everyone could benefit from her innovations. But in 2012, something huge happened that would take Lori's success to a whole new level. She joined Shark Tank. And let me tell you, she didn't just join the show, she transformed it. They started calling her the warm-blooded shark because she had this absolutely incredible ability to know instantly if a product would either be a hero or a zero. And she was really good at it. How good? We're talking about a 90% success rate with her deals. That's not just impressive, that's practically unheard of. But here's what made Lori different from other investors. She didn't just write checks and walk away. When she believed in a product, she went all in with her infamous golden ticket. When she spots a product she absolutely has to have, she pulls out what might be the most brilliant psychological move in Shark Tank history. She'll look at the entrepreneur and say, "I want to give you the golden ticket." And let me tell you, it's pure genius. Think about it. Other sharks might offer better deals, maybe even team up to give entrepreneurs more resources. But Lori, she makes entrepreneurs feel like they've just found their own Willy Wonka moment. It's not just about the money or the deal anymore. It's about being chosen, being special, being valued. And the really clever part? This isn't just about making a deal in the tank. Lori knows exactly what she's doing. When an entrepreneur takes her golden ticket, they can use that in their marketing. Chosen by Lori Greiner with the golden ticket. That's the kind of advertising you can't buy. It's like getting a stamp of approval from the queen of QVC herself, and that carries some serious weight in the retail world. The pressure when she offers that golden ticket is intense. You can literally see entrepreneurs wrestling with other offers. Maybe better equity splits, maybe more money, maybe multiple sharks. But there's something almost magical about that golden ticket that makes them choose Lori anyway. She's created her own special brand of Shark Tank peer pressure, and it works like a charm. When it comes to the investors on Shark Tank, Lori Greiner really shines as a standout. She's not just there to have fun. Lori is genuinely passionate about finding and fostering amazing products. While some of the other sharks might be there for entertainment, Lori is laser focused on growing her net worth through her carefully chosen deals. For instance, Robert Herjavec retired 2 decades ago to raise his 3 children as a stay-at-home dad, but returned to the business world out of boredom. Kevin O'Leary, despite the risky proposals on Shark Tank, he chooses to maintain his wealth invested in treasury bills to dividend-paying stocks rather than pursue new growth. Mark Cuban, who seems to enjoy the spotlight as a billionaire on TV, said that sometimes his deals are not to profit, but to help someone or send a message that the American dream is alive and well. When entrepreneurs make a deal with Lori, they're not just getting an investor. They're getting a partner who's built an empire from scratch, someone who knows exactly what it takes to turn a good product into a household name. That's why she's often the top choice for entrepreneurs walking into the tank. They know she's not just writing checks. She's investing her time, her expertise, and her entire network into making their products succeed. The Scrub Daddy serves as the prime example of her hero pick, probably one of the biggest successes in Shark Tank history. When Lori first saw this texture-changing sponge that could get hard in cold water and soft in warm water, she knew she had a winner. The entrepreneur only asked for $100,000 for 10% of the company, but Lori saw something bigger. She doubled down right there, offering $200,000 for 20%. And what happened next is absolutely incredible. Lori didn't just invest money, she opened up her entire playbook. First, she got Scrub Daddy live selling spots on QVC, and sales absolutely exploded. But she was not done. Starting with one product, she helped them expand into major retailers like Walmart and Target, and then took them international. They now have 48 unique products, available in over 30,000 retail stores across 17 countries. Since its debut on Shark Tank, this America's favorite sponge has taken the world by storm, racking up a jaw-dropping $400 million in retail sales in just 9 short years. While Scrub Daddy gained a lot of attention, Lori's innovation didn't stop there. Squatty Potty, a toilet footstool designed to improve posture while relieving yourself, making the bathroom experience far more comfortable. Many might have initially found this product amusing and dismissed with a laugh. I mean, a toilet stool to help with bowel movements? Not exactly fancy nor trendy. But it addresses a significant issue that many people experience. Lori isn't worried about glam. She's all about tackling real problems. She constantly thinks outside the box to come up with helpful solutions. Lori saw the potential and jumped in with $350,000 for a 10% share in Squatty Potty. Started with one product, and today they have 20 new products. Squatty Potty really knows how to flush away the competition, and went on to become the third most successful deal in Shark Tank history, pulling in an incredible $222 million in sales in just 7 years, since airing on Shark Tank. Then there's Everlywell, and this one really highlighted Lori's remarkable ability to identify a winning product in a hot space, especially since all the other sharks decided to bow out. The other sharks looked at this product and thought, oh, there's a lot of competition for this. We'll be in a race to raise more funds to build partnerships with labs, and make sure everything's in check with compliance, and still have to maintain a high quality standard. So it's understandable when they're not quite ready to take a chance with their money and play the uncertain waiting game. But Lori? She recognized the increasing consumer trend towards convenience and personalized at-home testing kits, which provided fast physician-reviewed results, and saw the perfect moment to strike a deal with the founder. She jumped in with $1 million for 5% of the company, which had already demonstrated traction and strong growth before appearing on Shark Tank. Since that moment, Everlywell has achieved an impressive $300 million in retail sales within just 4 years after the pitch aired on Shark Tank. When the pandemic hit in 2020, everyone was looking for ways to stay safe, and at-home COVID-19 testing kits quickly became popular. Everlywell stepped up to the plate and was one of the first companies to get FDA approval for a COVID test. This was at a time when testing was hard to come by, and people were feeling anxious. Their quick action positioned them as a leader in that rapidly evolving world of at-home healthcare, which played a part in their explosive growth. Another noteworthy investment for Lori from Shark Tank that really took off during the pandemic was phone soap. Even though it's a niche product, she saw a great opportunity to introduce it to her audience on her popular QVC show. By demonstrating how the device kills germs and charges your phone while sanitizing them using UVC light technology, she was able to connect with them on a personal level and help them feel more secure about their health and safety. This exposure helped her sell a ton of units in just a matter of minutes. And that's what Lori's best at, seeing the potential in simple solutions to everyday problems. She invested $300,000 for a 10% stake, then went to work her amazing product demonstrations on QVC, which really caught people's attention. Thanks to her efforts, viewers soon realized they absolutely needed this in their lives. After just 7 years since Phone Soap's pitch aired on Shark Tank, the product generated a total of $150 million in retail sales. See, Lori understood something crucial. Sometimes it's not just about having a great product, it's about knowing how to tell its story. But these aren't even all of Lori's big wins. She's got this incredible knack for spotting winners. Just look at Bantam Bagels, Drop Stop, Bug Bite Thing, and Hug Sleep. Each one of these turned into a massive success under her guidance. And it proves something we've seen again and again. When Lori spots a hero product, she doesn't just invest in it, she turns it into gold. These accomplishments continue to add to her wealth, building her empire even bigger. Over the years, her Shark Tank investments have had an exponential trajectory. We estimated her latest net worth based on our findings and research in her many investments. 2 businesses that really stood out for her are Everlywell and Scrub Daddy. They've both been hugely successful and made quite an impact on her portfolio. Everlywell recently hit a market valuation of $3.45 billion all by themselves. And with Lori taking 5% stake in the deal, we're talking about her netting $172.5 million just from this investment alone. Scrub Daddy's market cap is worth an estimated $250 million, and Lori's 20% equity stake is now worth $50 million. As of 2024, Lori Greiner's Shark Tank investments have generated a total of over $2 billion in sales over 13 years. If we take a closer look at her average sales split evenly over 13 years, that works out to be $154 million per year. However, we all know that business growth isn't linear. It's more like an exponential rocket launch. So it's more realistic to see that annual sales for 2012 was $0 and $308 million per year by 2024. Lori's investments are mainly in the consumer discretionary sector. As of 2025, companies in this industry within the S&P 500 typically have an average price-to-sales ratio of 1.617, so we can estimate a total valuation of around $498 million. Lori has a 20% equity stake in each of her remaining companies, which means she's gained an impressive $100 million just from her Shark Tank deals alone. When you factor in all her other entrepreneurial pursuits, I would estimate her net worth to be a more reasonable range between $300 and $500 million. Plus, she's still making about $50,000 per episode on Shark Tank. A typical season has 22 episodes, so she earns around $1.1 million a year just from the show. Thanks to this exposure, her QVC shows, which have been running for over 2 decades, have enjoyed increased sales and even greater recognition for her extensive portfolio of products. Her investments in emerging businesses continue to innovate and grow. The sales from her book Invent It, Sell It, Bank It, which is a national bestseller, also contribute to her net worth. She's creating layers of wealth that are compounding as her businesses grow. A net worth of $300 to $500 million range seems far more realistic when you add up all the revenue streams from her Shark Tank investments, television appearances, QVC empire, product sales, book sales, and other revenue streams. And her ability to spot winning products, not just in terms of profitability but cultural impact, speaks to her knack for understanding consumer behavior. Lori's real legacy isn't just in the numbers. It's in how she changes the game for inventors and entrepreneurs. The way she keeps picking winners and growing her empire, it's not if but when she'll hit billionaire status. Something really fascinating about Lori that most people don't know is that despite all her successes, she stayed incredibly frugal in those early days. The queen of QVC didn't buy a single luxury item until she'd been in business for 4 years, and when she finally did splurge, it was on a stainless steel Cartier watch that she still cherishes today. For the first 5 years after her jewelry organizer hit it big in 1997, Lori and Dan worked from their Chicago home office, sharing a single desk. No fancy office space, no huge team, just pure hustle. She answered her own phones, kept her own books, and did basically everything herself. Before manufacturing anything, she'd meticulously study the market, size up her competition, and really understand the demand. No rushing into production, no gambling on too much inventory too soon. Every move was calculated, and every decision was carefully weighed. In the beginning, I was really lean, she says. For the longest time, I did it all. I played every hat. I was in the factory, doing the graphic design, the photography, the selling, literally everything. I saved money doing what I could myself. It was hard, but I learned. I learned that nobody's better than you to get your business off the ground. The experience you get is priceless. And she lived by those words, playing every role in her company, from factory supervisor to graphic designer, from photographer to salesperson. Sure, it was tough, but this hands-on approach taught her everything about running a successful business. For now, and for the near future, enjoy roughing it, she wrote in her book. Take pride in the fact that you're tough enough to run a business on a tight budget. This careful, methodical approach paid off big time. Beyond that first jewelry organizer, Lori came up with everything from makeup holders to swivel-style organizers. And later she went on to patent products in different categories like electronics, cosmetics, household items, kitchen, mobile devices, traveling equipment, and more, each one solving a real problem people faced every day. All this success, all these patents, all these products, and Lori never lost that frugal mindset. Even today, she believes in being lean, in saving where you can, in doing things yourself when possible. As she likes to say, there will be plenty of time later to indulge in luxuries, comforts, and labor-saving purchases, but first you've got to build something that lasts. If you found Lori's journey inspiring, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got some amazing stories coming up about other entrepreneurs who started with nothing and went on to build massive empires.